Hey everybody, it's Matthew and welcome to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. And folks, I'm going to be doing a couple of videos today. One will be immediately following this one, basically to pay tribute to two musical artists who we've lost recently, who have been very important in my personal life, certainly in my musical fanship, so to speak. And I'm sure many of you also feel the same way. And the first one I like to speak about is Charlie Watts. Now, I've been a big fan of British invasion music since day one, since I was that little boy back in 1964 and my parents bought me some Beatles records. I have been a huge fan of that genre of music. And I can't think of any artist in that genre that I dislike. I mean, from the Beatles to the Rolling Stones to the Who to the Kinks, Dave Clark 5, Herman's Hermits, Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Freddie and the Dreamers, The Foremost. I mean, I could go on, and ancillary British artists like Petula Clark and Dusty Springfield and Cilla Black. And I mean, I love all that type of music, folks. But I always considered the big four when it comes to British invasion to be the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, and the Kinks. Those four artists always seem to be the top of the heap for me, as far as that they were able to change, adapt, evolve as the times changed, as the musical landscape changed, as culture changed and society changed. Those four artists all seem to be able to adapt so well to these changes, and their music reflected that through the years. And certainly the Rolling Stones have been around head and shoulders above all the British invasion artists. I mean, you have to give them credit. And right there with them since day one has been Charlie Watts, providing that backbeat, that solid backbeat, drum beat, whatever, however you want to call it, to the Rolling Stones sound. He's been there from day one, and through all their recordings, there's been Charlie Watts. And out of all the Rolling Stones, I would have to say Charlie always seemed to be the most grounded to me, and I always respected that about him. You know, I love all the Rolling Stones. I've been a fan since I was a young boy. But, you know, Mick and Keith have had their crazy times. Certainly Bill Wyman, quiet as he is, has had his moments. Brian Jones, you know, had his issues, obviously. And Ronnie Wood seems to be pretty grounded. But Charlie Watts, you have to say, he did have a little lapse back in the 80s. He's freely admitted it, that he kind of fell off a little bit and was involved in some substance abuse problems. But he quickly overcame that, and through it all, he's remained solid and true to his family, to his wife of how many years now? Well over 50 years. They got married in 1964, and they've been together right up to his passing. So he's always been that real solid person, musician with the Stones, from being solid on that beat to solid as a human being, keeping them grounded. You got to say that's been Charlie Watts. So I just thought I'd share just a few minutes with you about the passing of Charlie and how much we're going to miss him. I'm not here to show you every Rolling Stones album I have. I certainly, unlike the Beatles, I do not have every Rolling Stones album. I have albums from every era or every decade of their career, I should say. But I just thought I'd talk about a couple of things, show you a couple of recent Stones things that I have that really mean a lot to me. And the first thing starts with this Blue and Lonesome album, their most recent studio album. I'm not sure how much material they have in the can involving Charlie, that maybe they will release one more studio album with him on it. I don't know. But I love this album, folks. What a great return to their roots on this album, Blue and Lonesome. I do not have the vinyl, but I love this CD package. It's fantastic. Really a great piece of material from the Rolling Stones. And if you are a Rolling Stones fan, you have to have this album, because the covers they do on here of the old blues classics, and it's just unbelievable how they put this together. And solid right there is Charlie Watts on this album. I mean, the guy is amazing. He can play on any style of music, and he does such a fantastic job here. So I highly recommend this as a great Rolling Stones album to get. Another recording I want to talk about is, which could be their last released piece of new music with Charlie Watts, and that's this great new song called Living in a Ghost Town, which they put out a little while back. And this is a 10-inch little thing I got here, a little vinyl that I want to show you. It's on a nice colored vinyl, and because it was so nice, there's the back. It's a nice yellow, but because they offered two cool colors in the vinyl, I had to get both, folks, so I did. I got the yellow one, and I did pick up the purple as well. So something definitely worth seeking out, folks, or get it on a streaming service if you can. But Living in a Ghost Town, like I said, could be the final piece of new studio music released during Charlie's lifetime with the Stones, and it's an absolute fabulous piece of music. I really enjoy this song so much. But to close out today, I want to talk about a couple of times I did see the Rolling Stones live. The most recent time, unfortunately, I wish I had seen them more, but I saw them on the Voodoo Lounge tour back in 1994, I believe it was, and it was absolutely fabulous. I went with one of my brothers, a couple of friends, had a great time, great concert, great set list. They were on fire, and just a wonderful, wonderful memory. I'll always cherish that Voodoo Lounge tour. But the show that really knocked me out the most was the first time I saw the Rolling Stones, and that was on the 1989 Steel Wheels tour. And to represent that, I had to get this. They've been releasing these collectible live sets of the Rolling Stones from different eras of their career, different tours of their career, covering different countries. And this one happens to be from the 1989 Steel Wheels tour live, Atlantic City, New Jersey in 1989. It's on a special edition 4 LP colored vinyl set. I'll give you a look at that real quick. And I had to get this, folks. That show knocked me out. When I saw that tour in 1989 at the old Foxborough Stadium where the Patriots used to play, I have never seen before or since a stage setup more elaborate, more immense, magnificent than the Steel Wheels tour for the Rolling Stones. And any of you that saw that tour, you can attest to it with me. I mean, picture the Titanic sideways as the stage. I mean, it literally wasn't a boat. I'm just saying the size of that. When I went to that show and saw this tour, the stage was so immense, so detailed, so spread out from one end of the stadium to the other, with the stage in the middle and the lighting and the different levels, and the Stones could walk up all this scaffolding and stuff to get close to the audience. I've never seen a stage presentation like it, and I don't think I ever will. It was so unbelievable. And it was such a great show. Let me just show you a couple of the things here. Here's a couple of inner sleeves with some pictures from that tour. There's Charlie right there. I've never seen a spectacle like the Steel Wheels tour. And don't get me wrong, the Voodoo Lounge tour a few years later was just as grand. But this one, for some reason, here's one of the blue vinyl. This one, for some reason, because it was the first time I saw the Stones orange, it just blew me away. I've never been impacted by a live show as much as I was by the Steel Wheels tour. A couple of pictures there. Again, the other two pieces of vinyl are also blue and orange. Some big blow-up dolls came on the stage. It tells about the tour here. There's the other one. Nice logo there on the label, orange. And nice picture of the guys there, different shots. And Bill, Ronnie, and Keith. And then you got Mick and Charlie here. So I wanted to show you that, folks, and just share my memory, because there's Charlie Watts. The stage as big as the Titanic. And there he is, Charlie. Didn't have this giant, elaborate drum set like Neil Peart from Rush or something like that. He's on his little 4-piece or whatever it was, 5-piece drum kit, right in the middle of the stage, and he sounded so fantastic from every song, from the first song to the closing number, the encore. There was Charlie on his little drum kit, holding that beat solid and steady throughout all the chaos and explosions and lasers and all the other stuff going on around him. There he was, solid, right in the middle. And I'll always have that memory of him being there, being rock solid for that show, and every tour subsequently, obviously. So I just wanted to share that with you folks, that we're going to miss Charlie. Unfortunately, we're getting to a period in our lives as well where I look at myself and I've just turned 60 and I go, oh my goodness, how did that happen? And I just have to think to myself, I was that little kid loving these bands all those years ago, as I'm sure you were, and I'm not that little kid anymore. So if I've aged, all my heroes, all our heroes have aged as well. And we're starting to lose them, when we have been losing them. Most of the stars from the 50s are gone now. And now we're starting to lose a lot of our idols and musical people we follow from the 60s and 70s and even beyond. So unfortunately, we just cherish the moments and times we've had seeing them live or listening to their music and what they've given us as a gift in their music, and just appreciate it. And say a prayer for Charlie and his family. And I really appreciate you being here. This was for Charlie. This was for you and all the people that love the Rolling Stones. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye-bye.